everyone. I'm Sakshi M Krishna. I'm working as an advocate at a law firm in Bangalore, India. And I've also founded an youth environmental organization called My Earth, which is currently operational in India, but we have volunteers from across the world. And I'm also a Global South coordinator for a global youth movement called Youth for Our Planet, which is operational in across 80 countries. And we have over 400 mobilizers. Um, so that's a little bit about me. Will I be able to share my screen so I can present?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm going to be talking about youth activism in the environmental and climate movement. As we understand that young people are very critical in the young youth movement in bringing about environmental and climate change and urging politicians to take action and put nature and biodiversity at the heart of every decision that they're going to make. As we all understand, or as we are trying to understand and wrap our heads around this fact that 2022 has been the year for biodiversity, nature, and all action for environment and climate, because there are a lot of global conferences, UN conferences, where heads of states and governments will be meeting, and they will be taking decisions that will be, implemented for the next 10 years, that is until 2030. So this is something called as post 2020 framework, where all the decisions that are going to be taken up in this conferences are going to be implemented, and policies are going to be formed, and they will come up with strategies and policies across different countries and regions, and they will make pledges to bring about changes in their decision making for the environment and climate. So which is why young people are very critical in influencing or diverting political leaders and governments and heads of states to see is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Oh, all right. Sorry.
Sometimes they get stuck. Is that what happened? It looks like it's working.
Yeah. So no worries. I can just go back. So young people play a very critical role in this environmental and climate movement, and showing politicians that we care about our future, because this is going to be our planet, and this is going to be the action that we need to take to protect and to bring about active change in for the within the next 10 years. So as we understand that young people are important, and we also need to understand that there might not be some equal representations in young people at these conferences, at these global decisions. And I know all of this might sound a little complicated, but I think we are all at a stage where this rapid action needs to be implemented by heads of states, and young people are driven by a passion for the environment. So if you're from a person who's from the Asia Pacific region, as I am, it might be a little difficult for you to get on the same pedestal as someone, say, as a young person from the global north, who has much better hold on resources and informational and educational resources. So as a young person from Asia Pacific region, we might face many other social challenges as well. So climate and biodiversity crisis isn't probably one of the biggest of our concerns, but I think young people also are trying to understand, or are trying to wrap their heads around, that if environmental and biodiversity and climate crisis are solved, you can also solve many of the socio-economic problems that are prevalent in the developing and underdeveloped countries. So I think what young people can do, or can take action, is to understand how and how and what influence they can have over this youth activism and over this entire environmental and climate movement, because it's quite important that you understand why you're doing what you're doing. It's not just you're doing something, you have just a propagation and you are going and placing it before someone if you don't know why you're doing it. So young people need to understand how they can make a difference and why they're trying to make this difference and what is the impact of their actions. And so it is a process, and that's where my earth, an organization like my earth, comes in. So what we do is we empower young people from a underprivileged, um, vulnerable and indigenous community. We give them the platform to voice their opinions and ambitions and ideas and anything that they have for the environment and climate. Either if it is not safe for you to do so in your country, we will also provide you a platform to make things you know anonymous, and you can use our platform to voice your um, views and ideas on how you want to make a difference. So I think it's more important why my earth comes in at this point is because we not only focus on empowering the global north, we primarily focus on the young people from the global south, and we are trying to bridge the gap between the vulnerable communities and the global institutions. So I'm trying to bring all the resources that are so readily available for the global north, and with the international resources, as many of them are not privileged with the climate literacy resources. So my earth is trying to bridge that gap between the international organizations and the people who have first-hand access to climate literacy, will take action and will empower the people from these communities, who in turn will voice their opinions and use this platform uh, as a tool to act towards taking environmental and climate uh, change. So like I was saying, climate and biodiversity crisis needs urgent and immediate action from the governments. It's not just ground level action anymore. So what um, governments across the world need to do is have region specific solutions, because a universal solution is not going to make a difference, because something that applies to the global north will not apply to the global south. So they need to come out with region specific solutions, and they need to look at young people with different backgrounds, different caste, different religion, different sex, different circumstances differently, and they need to give equal opportunities and representation opportunities for both young people from the global north and as well as the global south. Because I think I don't know much with the statistics, but I think the young people from the Asia Pacific region form the major portion of the population of the young people on the planet. Um, so I think it's quite important that young people from the Asia Pacific region form a really crucial role, will play a very crucial role in bringing about change in the climate and biodiversity movement. Um, and while I understand that the global north is trying to bring up with policies and decisions, it's also very crucial to mention that the global south has been the gate. I'd like to say that it's the gatekeeper for the biodiversity, because the world majority of the world biodiversity is in the global south. So if we are the protector of the resources that is available, I think people also people who are the residents and like the community members and indigenous tribes and vulnerable communities need to know why they're protecting, and how at this moment of crisis how help will be given to them and how they can handle this crisis. And what is the government giving them, what is the reassurance that the government is providing them to them, that this will be taken care of if you understand that this is the problem. So I think people from these vulnerable communities, like I come from a very orthodox and a very patriarchal society, I'd like to say. So for me, it was very difficult to come out and voice my opinions for regarding biodiversity or even the climate and the environmental movement. So I think this has been an opportunity. This has My Earth has been a great platform for me as well. Trying to do that, we try to give a platform for people who don't think that they have a platform, or they want to use this platform to do something very it may not be very big. So we are trying to empower and tell people how they can be motivated and how they can come out of their uh, background difficulties and voice their opinions for action for biodiversity and climate. So I think that's something that My Earth is trying to do. And I'd also like to say how I'd like to also touch upon how young people can get involved, not just with My Earth. If there are any organizations, any environmental, any youth movements in your country, you can always volunteer with that environmental movement. It can be overwhelming for a young person to understand how they can get involved and how they can make a difference. You don't have to do everything, but you can do something. So that will count for a very big cause. So volunteering is something any young person can do. And you can also, if you have the resources and if you have the capacity, you can always lead a campaign in your community, or you can always reach out to My Earth as a platform. We will try to equip you with the resources, and we could plan a campaign in your community and bring about the change that you intend to rectify and solve in your particular community. And I know this is very difficult for young people from certain countries to do, but young people can also create political pressure if it is absolutely safe for them to do so, because countries like the Philippines and most of the Arab countries, I'm not sure are very safe for to go on protests and to go on strikes and to conduct any sort of um, campaigns on ground. So if young people from such countries think that it's unsafe for you to do so, as a young person myself, I'd suggest that you probably request a meeting with your head of state or a local authority. If that's not possible, you could always write letters and collect signatures from your community and identify a environmental issue or a community level issue that needs action and that needs rectification, and you could always send that to your local authority. So it doesn't have to be big, as unless you're taking some sort of action. So I think these are the three basic ways how young people can get involved. And most importantly, I'd encourage young people from the global south to come out of their difficulties and use platforms such as My Earth and other organizations that are trying to make a difference in this environmental and climate movement. So yeah, that's how you can get involved.
Una PowerPoint.
Sina PowerPoint.
Um,
PowerPoint tu
I,
naona
I
iko
Una share.
ndio isti.
Actually, that was an awesome presentation. Thank you so much. I learned a lot, and I agree with you. I think youth can have a voice, and it's amazing what I think young people can do these days. So I'm going to we just have a minute or two, and I just want to see if Yanina has a question for you or a comment.
Yeah, as a young person myself, I think your presentation is very impressive, what you're setting out to do. I just want to know what's going to happen in the future for your organization? Are you going to take it to the next level, or are you going to continue to try to expand through more countries globally? Like, what's going to go on with that?
Yeah, so My Earth was initially an organization it started out as an initiative that I wanted to use as a platform to voice my ambitions and opinions. But I thought like people from the similar backgrounds might want to use the same platform that I am so privileged to have. So it expanded as an organization that is going to be operational in Bangalore. But we soon started to receive applications from all across the country. And now we have young people who are our volunteers almost from 15 countries. So I think we have some, in a way, we have expanded globally, but I intend, at least for within the next 5 years, I think I intend to reach at least 25,000 young people and create some sort of difference and launch many campaigns across many regions and across different countries. So yeah, I think influencing and empowering young people is the main goal for my Earth at the moment.
Wow, what an amazing amount of people you're reaching. That is awesome. We thank you so much for joining us today and being flexible and starting a little bit early. You did a great job, and best of luck with all you're doing, and hopefully you'll be back on Gift and we can hear how the future rings out for you. But we appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for providing me this opportunity and helping me talk about my organization and reach out to more young people.
Great, great. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you.